Hi everyone, today's video is a sample from the Czerny Exercises mini course that I recently put together. These are based on the first 20 exercises of Op.599 based on your requests over the years to add more Czerny exercises to the Pro Practice library. And each of these videos is going to cover unique ways of practicing. So we're not just going to be learning notes and the basics, but we're also going to be learning effective practice strategies, learning strategies, how to execute thirds better, how to practice triplets with the metronome, a lot of these unique ways, how to shape things in short and long phrases. So all of that is covered in the mini course. And today I wanted to share with you exercise 11, so about halfway through the mini course, and we're going to be going over how to learn a piece effectively as today's unique way of practicing. If you'd like to view the rest of the videos in this course, just click on the link in the description below, and that will take you to the enrollment page for the course. Hope you enjoy today's video. Welcome to Pro Practice, your guide to piano mastery. I'm Josh Wright, and today's episode covers exercises 11 and 12 in the Czerny Exercises mini course based on Op.599. And in this mini course, we cover exercises 1 through 20 with a bunch of unique practice methods, as you already know from exercises 1 through 10. In exercise 11, we're going to be learning my favorite learning strategy, how I learn pieces, and this is also how I memorize and polish pieces as well. And in exercise 12, we will be learning about touch and tempo. So lively textures versus more lyrical textures, and a few strategies that you can use, and different ways that you can hold your hands to accentuate those characters in your playing. So let's just dive right in to exercise 11. I want to start out with just a slow rendering of the piece so that each of you can follow along. If you needed some help learning it, I highly recommend, as we started from exercise 1, reading intervals. Don't just read C, E, C, E. Read those intervals along the way. But let's play this through one time together just to familiarize ourselves with this exercise. I'm going to go very slowly. I'm going to skip the repeats for now. All right, so we can see that this is a 16-bar piece, and the way I like to learn things is I like to learn them based on rescue points. So a rescue point is somewhere that you can jump forward to in your performance if something goes wrong. I remember seeing one of my former students, and it was at the time my wife's student, play with orchestra, and she messed up in this one little tiny place, and she completely stopped. So she wanted the conductor to start over. It was humiliating for her, so everyone stopped playing. She got to the same spot, messed up again. The whole orchestra had to stop again. So the third time, she messed up in that same place again, and she just kept going. She just jumped to the next measure. If she had done that on the first try, she would have saved herself all that humiliation, and it may not have even been noticeable to the audience. So that's the first little piece of advice in today's video, is if you do mess up in a performance, always jump ahead. And that ties in beautifully with how we learn the piece. Okay, so you can do 1-bar sections. By the way, bar and measure are used synonymously in these videos. My European students on Skype say bar, my American students say measure, so you can use whatever terminology you want. But we can do 1-bar segments, 2-bar segments, or 4-bar segments. I guess you could do 3 if you want, but I kind of like an even number unless you're doing just one at a time. And I will sometimes work from the end of the piece. So I'll do the last 4 bars to the end. Psychologically, that's a very helpful strategy because you're always finishing the piece. And it's less scary to say, okay, I just finished the piece. Let me go back another 4 bars. Okay, and that's not hard. But when you start from the beginning, sometimes it's a little intimidating. Even in a 16-bar piece, you're like, wow, I've got a big piece ahead of me. Even though I'm just working on the first 4 bars, there's a lot left. When you're actually finishing the piece, that's very helpful. So I know I've covered this in some videos before, but we're going to apply it today with this Czerny exercise number 11. Okay, so here we go. always start right hand, left hand together until they're smooth. If it takes you more than one try to do that, that's probably pretty normal if you're at this level, to have it take you at least a few tries, if not maybe a few days, to get each of these exercises really good. And it might take you maybe 10 or 15 tries to get each part smooth before putting it together. The beauty of working in these sections is, by the way, is that you can really master a small section in a fairly short amount of time. So if it's taking you a really long time to do 4 bars at a time, just go down to 2 bars at a time. If 2 bars is taking you too long, 1 bar at a time. So, okay, left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, hands together. Here we go. Ready, and. And already, even though this video is focused on learning strategies more than interpretation like we've been doing in some of the earlier videos, and which we'll certainly do a lot of in upcoming videos as well, let's still start thinking about the expression. So maybe go to your 5-7 right here, and then back to tonic. Okay, so here's our C major chord. Here's our G7 chord. Okay, so a lot of times that dominant chord, what we sometimes call the 5-7, because in C major, the 5th chord up is G major, and then if we add a 7th up from G, because an 8th is an octave, a 7th above it, that's our G7, and then we simply just put it in an inversion, a reordering of the chord. And I know I just went through that really fast, but we will address this. I address this heavily in my Pro Practice Technique series if you need extra theory help, if you don't already know these chords. But these are really basic harmonies throughout this Czerny. So let's try this again. I feel pretty satisfied with that, ending nice and calm. Okay, so then I would move backward to my next 4 bars, okay? And I would do right hand, left hand. I'm gonna spare you that just to save on time. Okay, once that feels good, a lot of people say, what do I do next? You have 2 options. You can do all 8 bars, right hand, left hand, hands together, or you can just jump into it hands together if it's pretty easy for you. If it's hard for you, I definitely recommend doing that. Now, if it's still bad, even after doing right hand, left hand, hands together for the 8 bars, and you're like, man, everything fell apart there, you can then stagger a 4-bar section. So what I mean by that, so if you have 8 bars, you could take bar 3, 4, 5, and 6 and work that until it's perfect. So you've worked 1 through 4, 3 through 6, and then 4 through 8. So you've come up with a lot of different variants on where you start. That's one of the most helpful ways that I find when I'm learning things, is to not just start every 4 bars. If it's not working out well, I will go and I will stagger that a little bit. So I'll do like bars 3 through 6. Okay, but let's say things are feeling good. Let's keep going. Okay, let's go back another 4 bars. So 4 bars before the first repeat. Once that feels good, students will often say, okay, that was great, Josh. What do you do now? Do you put it together with the rest? Or what do you do? So generally, if the piece is in 16 bars, what I would do is I'd work the first 8 and the second 8 separately until they both feel good, and then I'd put them together. Because once a whole section feels good, it's really easy to add to another section. If you just continue to add bigger and bigger and bigger pieces with little tiny portions at a time, it's nice. I mean, it starts to feel really fluid on that ending stuff, just like if a student is only practicing from the beginning of their piece always sounds great, and then it deteriorates towards the end. But I find a more efficient way is to just focus on individual sections, even within a small piece like this. So rather than putting bars 5 through 8 together with bars 9 through 16, I'm going to focus on putting bars 1 through 4 first. So let's just try that. And if you want to, you can always end with the downbeat of the next bar that you're going to be working towards. That kind of bridges a little gap. Sometimes if students only work in these tiny sections, there's like a little artificial gap. So I'd work bars 1 through 4, maybe to the downbeat of bar 5, and then let's just check bar 5 through 8. Okay, that's feeling good. So now let me put this all together, maybe start putting a little more expression. So I kind of crescendoed to bar 3, and then came down on bar 4, and then maybe end strong, just to add a little bit of variety because we know we want to end the piece softly, so maybe end the first half strong. Okay, so already this is coming together. You say, okay, that feels really good. Once the first 8 bars are really solid, you can do one of 2 things. I'm giving you guys a lot of options here, and I hope this isn't confusing you like, gosh, Josh can't make up his mind. This video is really unhelpful because it's meant to give you options based on how difficult the piece is, and I will use different options based on how difficult the piece is for me. So if I'm playing something like this, I would probably just be able to, I can sight read this stuff, but if I was playing something that was pretty easy for me, I would just be putting these sections together quickly. If I'm playing something like a really tough etude or a really difficult piece in a sonata or a fugue or something, what I'll do is I will start to build these up. So if you're having trouble, what I would do is bars 1 through 16, right hand, left hand, hands together until that's good. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that one time together. With expression. Getting softer. Then I would go through and do the left-hand chords. I'll spare you on that because it's not very expressive, and these are pretty much just the chords that you're going to use right there. So here we go. And that's my favorite strategy for learning pieces, in those little sections, overlapping when necessary, going the extra mile if it's hard, or just kind of skipping to the next section if it's easy. I hope that helps each of you. Let's now move on to exercise 12.